ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः।
अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः।
So, having completed the 5th chapter, we are going to begin 6th chapter. Shashtaha Adhyayaha, and the topic of this chapter is Dhyanam. Therefore, this chapter is called Dhyana Yoga. So, Dhyanam, the word Dhyanam is derived from the Dhatu, Dhyai Dhatu. Dhyanam, meditation. Dhyanam, Dhyata, Dhyaya. Dhyanam, meditation. Dhyata, the meditator. Dhyaya, the object of meditation. So, Dhyanam involves Dhyata and Dhyaya. The Dhyata, the meditator, meditates on the Dhyaya, the object of meditation, and therefore the Dhyanam is Dhyanam, the meditation must be, it must be with regard to the dhyeya vishaya. So dhyeya means that the this the object of meditation, dhyeya meaning the object of meditation, it is not that the person is is making the it is making the mind, it is making the mind free from the thoughts. It is not in dhyanam, because the dhyeya is the dhyanam has got dhyeya, the object of meditation. Therefore, it is not that the dhyanam, the where the Midhyata, the meditator, deliberately entertains the thoughts which are without, which cannot be without content. So, since dhyeya is there, object of meditation is there, therefore, dhyanam, the meditation which involves deliberate entertainment of thoughts with regard to the object of meditation. Therefore, thoughts are there. It is not thoughts free. That is why dhyanam is defined as saguna brahma manasa vyapara. It is a vyapara. It is an action, vyapara. Manasa, saguna brahma manasa vyapara. It is also a karma, manasa karma. Dhyanam is manasa karma. As karma is done through the shariram, kaika karma, through the speech, it's called vachika karma, through words. Similarly to the mind. So it is from the grosser to the subtle. Grossest is kaika, and little subtler than that is vachika, and more subtle than that is manasa. The karma what we do through the body or the speech. Now it is done through the mind. Therefore, it is, when it is done through the mind, it requires certain command over the mind. Generally, mind doesn't obey the instructions of the master. Mind, which is supposed to be servant, what happens? It rules the master. The mind becomes a master, and the person becomes the servant. Therefore, making the mind subservient to you, to obey you, that involves deliberate entertainment of thoughts. That is, you decide, you wish, you not only wishing, it's you make the mind entertain thoughts what you want to. So therefore it is vyapara only. It is an action only. Mind generally, what it does is it worries. It has worry. It has got varieties of worries. Anxieties are there. So that is when a person is in worry, or when it is distressed, the person naturally will be thinking about the worry. So it's called worry meditation. It is not worry meditation. Even though the mind is focused on the worry, but it is of no use. The worry becomes more and more stronger, and finally it overpowers a person. Finally, it makes a person a dull person, not able to act, to remove the worry. So it's not dhyanam is not worrying. In worry there may be focus. There may be focus, complete focus on the worry. The person doesn't think about anything. He thinks only about the worry. But that is not dhyana, because there is no deliberation involved. Whereas dhyanam is a deliberation. The dhyata, the meditator, he has taken the sankalpa and therefore the deliberation is involved, desire to entertain thoughts related to a particular dhyaya vishaya, the object of meditation. So therefore only dhyanam is defined as vijatiya pratyaya anantarita sajatiya pratyaya pravagaha. That is making the mind to entertain. Mind is nothing but the flow of thoughts. Therefore, the flow of thoughts should be with regard to, should be centered on dhyaya vishaya. Vijatiya pratyaya anantarita, to the exclusion of other thoughts other than the dhyaya vishaya. So there should not be the thoughts. There should not be any other thoughts other than the object of meditation. One object of meditation. There are no objects of meditation, only one object at a time. And making the mind, making the mind, the flow of thoughts centered on to the dhyaya vishaya. That is called meditation. So therefore, it is a vyapara. It is a vyapara. Saguna Brahma Manasa vyapara. Mind generally wanders. In meditation, what you do is you involve that, you make that mind wander in the dhyaya vishaya. The mind can wander around the dhyaya vishaya, in the dhyaya vishaya. Even when it goes out, again you have to bring it back to the dhyaya vishaya. Suppose you are meditating on your Ishta Devata, seated on the lotus of your heart. You imagine the Ishta Devata is seated on the lotus heart. That is, art is imagined. The lotus is imagined in your heart, and on which the Ishta Devata is seated. Nicely decorated asana. On that asana, Ishta Devata is seated. So you have to meditate. When you meditate, the mind tends to go out. Whenever it goes out, you pull it back. So there is deliberation involved. So you focus on Ishta Devata from the toe to the head of the Ishta Devata. From the toe, from the tip of the finger up to the head. So you can make the mind, focus on the form from the toe to the head, again from head to the toe. So now within the dhyaya vishaya only, the mind is allowed to wander. So making the mind to wander around the dhyaya vishaya, not allowing to wander other than the object of meditation. Whenever it goes, you have to bring it back. So that is vijatiya pratyaya anantarita ragita. Pratyaya means cognition, thoughts. Other than the vijatiya, different thoughts, varieties of thoughts. So to the exclusion of varieties of thoughts, sajatiya pratyaya pravaha. Pravaha means flow. Nadi pravaha, the flow of the river. Similarly, here pratyaya pravaha, vritti pravaha, the flow of thoughts should be sajatiya, should be centered on the dhyaya vishaya, sajatiya, similar thoughts, entertaining the similar thoughts to the exclusion of dissimilar thoughts. That is called meditation. This is called meditation. So, when the mind doesn't move away from the dhyaya vishaya, the object of meditation, that is called samadhi. We are completely absorbed in the dhyaya vishaya. Now, if the dhyaya vishaya, the object of meditation is sagunam Brahma, like Brahma, the Ishvara is looked upon as looked upon with form, the devatas. That's called dhyanam, meditation. When the dhyaya vishaya is nirgunam Brahma, the Brahma without attributes. Brahma with attributes. If the dhyaya vishaya is Brahma with attributes, saguna Brahma, then it is called meditation. If the dhyaya vishaya is nirgunam Brahma, Brahma without attributes, it is called nididhyasanam, nirgunam Brahma. So, nirgunam Brahma, the Brahma which is you, Atma. So, when the dhyaya vishaya is nirgunam Brahma, Brahma without attributes, then it is called nididhyasanam. So, nididhyasanam or dhyanam both involve the allowance of thoughts. But in dhyanam, what we do is we meditate on the dhyaya vishaya. It could be a form or it could be the names, etc. But in nididhyasanam, what we do is we recollect what we had heard in Shravanam. In Shravanam, we had heard the words of the Guru, that Shastram, the words of the Shastram from the Guru about you, the Atma. Therefore, you take up a word like Purnaha, Avyayaha, Nityaha, Satyaha, Buddhaha, Muktaha. So, all the words they describe Atma. So, taking a word and seeing the meaning of the word as you. Taking the word and seeing the meaning of the word, and finally that the thoughts resolve into yourself, the Atma. The meaning of the word is you. So the word and the thought, the vritti related to the word, the meaning of the word, finally into which the thoughts resolve. The thoughts resolve into the meaning of the word, that is Atma. So that is called Nididhyasanam. Taking a word, the words the words or the mantra, what we had listened in Shravanam, and deliberately entertaining the thoughts of those words, and see the meaning, seeing through the words, the meaning of the words as yourself. Because Shastram talks about you. You think yourself to be a samsari. The Shastram knocks off, saying that you are a samsari. Agam apurnaha. No, you are purnaha. Agam anityaha. No, nityaha. So replace it by nityaha. So agam apurnaha, anityaha, samsari. These thoughts. This is what you are now. Now, after jnanam, after shravanam, even though you had listened to the words of the Shastram handled by the teacher, the Shastram, the Pramanam. Shastram says, you are asamsari, Atma, Jagat Karanam, Brahma. You are neither born nor you have death. So all the vikaras are not there for you. Now, the words have been listened to. Now, to assimilate the words, to see the meaning of those words are you, is the purpose of this Nididhyasana, the meditation. So therefore, this chapter is dhyanam, it is nididhyasanam. When the object of meditation is nirgunam Brahma, it is called nididhyasanam. So, therefore, whether it is for dhyanam or nididhyasanam, dhyanam, we can take dhyanam to be the preparatory means for nididhyasanam. Dhyanam involves certain steps, preparatory steps, and nididhyasanam also. These are common. So dhyanam is a preparation for nididhyasana. Dhyanam is preparing oneself for nididhyasana. So dhyanam involves first in the Ashtanga Yoga, it is at yama, niyama, then asana, pranayama, then pranayama, pratyahara, then dhyanam. Starting from yama, niyama up to dhyanam. So you have to sit in the asana on the seat of meditation. So having restrained the mind, withdrawing the sense organs. Now you are focusing on the object of meditation. So that is dhyanam. The preparatory steps are there. Only where the difference comes is when the object of meditation is nirgunam, that is nididhyasana. So therefore for nididhyasanam, the dhyanam is a preparatory steps. So after the preparatory steps, then what you do in nididhyasanam is you assimilate, you see the meaning of the words, what you had understood, what you had listened to in Shravanam. And another important point, as I told before, this nididhyasanam is only for assimilation, only for digesting the meaning of the words, what you had listened in Shravanam. So Shravanam naturally precedes nididhyasanam. Without Shravanam, no jnanam. Without Shravanam, no jnanam. When no jnanam, then how can you do nididhyasana? So Shravanam followed by mananam. So mananam removes all the possible errors, the doubts, the mistakes, not mistakes. Then to make the mind clear about, to make yourself clear about what you had heard in Shravanam. This is nididhyasanam is done. Therefore, nididhyasanam is only for assimilation of the meaning of the words, which are about you only. So therefore, it is not for jnanam. Therefore, nididhyasanam is not for jnanam. Jnanam is only through Shravanam. Why we say jnanam is only through Shravanam? Because in Shravanam, the pramana is operated. Jnanam is pramana janyam. Any jnanam is pramana janyam. It is born of pramanam only. So nididhyasanam, therefore, it's not a pramanam. Nididhyasanam is only for assimilation. Okay. So, therefore, since nididhyasanam is meant for assimilation, there has to be the preparatory steps for nididhyasanam. That is for that only dhyanam. Dhyanam is required. Dhyanam involves certain preparatory steps, meditation, like asana, dhyana. Then only difference is the object of meditation. That is the difference. As dhyanam involves pratyahara, etc., withdrawing the mind, withdrawing the sense organs, the mind has to be focused. It should be single pointed, and the person must follow yama, niyama, etc. Otherwise, the mind will go all over. It must be focused. It must be very clear about regard to the priorities. So, therefore, we need such a mind which is focused, sharp, which is concentrated. That mind is required. So certain focus is required. So with that focus, that focus also is gained. That focus also is gained, but that is the focus. Here we are not talking about the the concentration. Here, concentration is, in concentration, you're making your mind converge into your point, and focus on that, like that of a lens. In the lens, what you do is, through the lens, you focus, the light is focused on a single point. That is focus. So when you listen to the class also, you are focused. That is a focus. That focus, that concentration is required. But that concentration is not a dhyana. Concentration is dhyana. In dhyanam, you are relaxed, you are free, you are relaxed. That is relaxation. Certain relaxation is there. And relaxation is not a concentration. So, therefore, understand the differences. So, in meditation, you have to be sufficiently relaxed. You are relaxed with regard to the worries, what you have with regard to the body or the mind or any other thing. So, you have to be free from all these disturbances, all these struggles. So that relaxation, with that relaxation, you get into the meditation. With that relaxation, you get into the meditation. So therefore, the certain preparatory steps are involved. So that also discussed in this chapter. That preparatory steps are also discussed, which is common for both Saguna Brahma Dhyanam and Nirguna Brahma Dhyanam. Saguna Brahma Dhyanam, Saguna Brahma is another name for Ishvara, the Brahma, that reality, that limitless reality with attributes. That's called Saguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma is, it is free from the attributes. It is Sat, Chit, Ananda. That is no Maya Upadhi. With Maya Upadhi, it is Sagunam. Without Maya Upadhi, it is Nirgunam. So, Sagunam Dhyanam, otherwise it can be called Upasana. Another word for Saguna Brahma Dhyanam is Upasana. Upasana or Saguna Brahma Dhyanam is for preparing the mind, to receive the grace of the Lord. For Upasana Devata, for earning the grace of the Upasana Devata, Ishvara, you can do Saguna Brahma Dhyanam, or otherwise called Upasana. Upasana, Puja, etc. In Puja also, Kaika Puja is there, Manasa Puja is there. You do Puja with your mind. That is difficult. Puja can be done externally, that is easy. But Manasa Puja, which is more powerful, that is difficult. You have to imagine everything in the mind, from placing the Lord on the asana and beginning with all the Abhisheka, then Alangara, finally Aradhana. Everything is done mentally. Mental puja, Manasa Puja, Shiva Manasa Puja, Stotram is there. Why it is there? That is that Upasana, that much, that the person must have the ability to focus the mind, to keep the mind relatively focused on the Saguna Brahma. That is why Saguna Brahma Upasana is suggested. First is physical puja, then then from the physical level to the mental level, one has to grow. And that is required. That is required for Nididhyasana. So whatever you do in Dhyanam and Saguna Brahma Dhyanam or Upasana, that preparatory steps are required for Nididhyasana. But the purpose is different. Upasana is meant for earning the grace of the Lord, or for making the mind to, it's not just making the mind to flow only on the Ishtadevata. Of course, it is for the Ishtadeva Anugraha, for earning the grace of the Ishtadevata, Saguna Brahma, Upasana. It is done. Upasana is done. But nididhyasanam, where there is no form, then why it is done? Because as a jnana sadhanam, it is done for removing the viparita bhavana, the habitual errors, the errors which have crept into you over a period of time that cannot go. Over a period of time is what time? Since anadi janma, since timelessly it is that vasana, that error is there. That if you are prepared, that will go at the time of Shravanam itself. If it doesn't go, therefore it doesn't go. Therefore only one has to do this Nididhyasanam, otherwise called Nirguna Brahma Dhyanam. Therefore, it is only to remove the habitual errors, Viparita Bhavana. So the meditation, that meditation or Nididhyasanam is not for gaining any mystical experience or not for moksha. Meditation is not the means for moksha. What is the means for moksha? Jnanam is a means for moksha. Moksha is only by jnanam. Jnanam of what? Jnanam of myself. Myself to be that Brahma, which is Purnam. So, therefore, jnanam, only by jnanam, moksha is. And for that jnana nishta, only nididhyasanam. Therefore, we have to understand very clearly to avoid the misconception. The misconception being that after the study of Shastram, one has to do meditation, and meditation will get moksha. No, it is not. It is not like that. Meditation, this nididhyasanam is only for removing the viparita bhavana. Knowledge has already happened. Knowledge has already come. It has already been received. When? In Shravanam. But it is not well assimilated. It is not well assimilated. If it is well assimilated, you will never forget the Swarupa of yourself. You will never consider yourself to be a samsari. You will not be overpowered by Sukha Dukkha of the world. Sukha Dukkha Anubhava. Since there is influence of samsara, therefore, it is very clear that knowledge has not been assimilated. Therefore, for the assimilation of the knowledge, in other words, we can say to make the knowledge always available. The knowledge is there, but it has not yet gone deep into you. From your subconscious, from subconscious, all the previous samskaras, they come up, they crop up when the situation comes. Now, all those have to be replaced by this knowledge. The knowledge what you heard, what you had heard in Shravanam, Aham, Brahma, Purnaha, Asamsari, Nityaha. Therefore, this knowledge, which is only at the surface level, at the conscious level, now it has to penetrate into you as you. So, therefore, only Nididhyasanam. Therefore, only Nididhyasanam is suggested. Therefore, only Nididhyasanam is recommended, not for Jnanam. Jnanam is there, therefore, only Nididhyasanam is done. Nididhyasanam is for, that's why we say Jnana Nishta. Nishtaram Stitihi. Nitaram Stitihi Nishta. You remain in that knowledge so that the knowledge becomes unshakable. Like when anybody calls you by your name, you turn back immediately, you don't wait. What action is that? The action is so spontaneous, so voluntary. The moment that your name is called, you turn back. Did you practice to remember your name? The name is called, you know how the name is assimilated as you. So to here, the jnanam has to be assimilated. For that, nididhyasanam is the means. You have got a name. The name is you, that you know, that knowledge is there. How the knowledge is assimilated in you. Similarly, the jnanam is there in Shravanam. Now that has to be assimilated. So for that only Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam. And we call it by Dhyanam here. You can call it by Dhyanam. Here in the Gita, it is called by the name Dhyanam. Now, there are certain preparations. There's certain preparations required for Dhyanam. Certain preparations. You cannot just like that do the Dhyanam, Nididhyasanam. There are certain preparations. And that preparation can be classified into Bhagiranga preparation, external preparation, Bhagiranga sadhanam, Bhagihi outside, external. Then Antaranga sadhanam, internal. Antaranga sadhanam, Bhagiranga sadhanam. So for meditation, we need to follow certain disciplines. We need to follow certain disciplines. The mind has to be the mind which has been constantly interacting with the world. Now it is going to enter into meditation. Therefore, doesn't it require certain discipline? Doesn't require certain attitude so that it helps, it aids our meditation. So therefore, the mind has to be relatively poised. It has to be tranquil. Relatively, it should enjoy relative that stability, the balance. How that is achieved? That sadhanam is called Bhagiranga sadhanam. That sadhanam is called Bhagiranga sadhanam. Therefore, Karma Yoga, etc., will come under Bhagiranga sadhanam. Karma Yoga, etc., will come under Bhagiranga sadhanam. Because Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, the Samatvam, that relative freeness, freedom from Raga Dvesha. If you are overpowered by Raga Dvesha, if you are under the influence of Raga Dvesha, you cannot meditate. If you are angry with a person, you cannot do meditation. You cannot sit even for meditation for just 1 minute. You will do angry meditation. So therefore, the mind has to be relatively calm, quiet, free from raga, dvesha, free from worries, anxieties. And therefore, karma yoga, a mumukshu, a karma yogi, who has been doing is swadharma, the karma, with the attitude of Ishwararpana buddhi and accepting the result as prasada buddhi, who enjoys a tranquil mind, is free from raga, dvesha, that the attitude what the karma yogi enjoys by karma yoga, that karma yoga is Bhagiranga sadhanam. The attitude, ultimately the attitude what the karma yogi enjoys, that is what aimed by the Bhagiranga sadhanam. So Bhagiranga sadhanasya sadhyam is the attitude of the karma yogi. That the mind, preparing the mind for meditation. Whatever required for preparing the mind of meditation. You say karma yoga or ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga also karma yoga only. Any yoga, anything what you do to make the mind ready for meditation. That is karma yoga one. So therefore, that is Bhagiranga sadhanam. Then Antaranga sadhanam. Antaranga sadhanam. Antaranga sadhanam requires proper posture, a sitting posture. You have to choose a posture which is relaxing, which is easy, which doesn't strain your body. Otherwise, your focus will be on the body parts. So therefore, asanam is very important. Having chosen asanam, that asanam you have to choose. So such asanam, so that you can sit comfortably for an hour at least. That asanam. That is why in the Ashtanga Yoga, asanam comes. Yama, niyama, asana, then pranayama, breathing exercise. There are also certain ratios are involved. anyway, that ratio is not important. The breathing, so is breathing and the mind are connected. Therefore, the mind, which is calm and quiet, now it is made ready for meditation by pranayama. Even if the mind is disturbed, it can be made calm by pranayama. All the time, you cannot make you cannot keep the mind also being always transacting the world. It cannot be always relaxing. So there may be certain disturbances that also can be cancelled by pranayama, doing pranayama, making the mind ready for entry into meditation. Therefore, breathing exercise, breathing practice. So therefore, asana, pranayama, all these are done before meditation. So Bhagiranga sadhanam followed by Antaranga sadhanam. Bhagiranga sadhanam followed by Antaranga sadhanam. So Bhagiranga sadhanam, that is why Bhagiranga sadhanam talked about Karma Yoga, where started with the second chapter onwards, second chapter, third chapter, and all Karma Yoga talked about, by which the person gains Samattva Buddhi, and he enjoys Ishwararpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi. And then, having talked about Bhagiranga sadhanam in all the previous chapters, now in this Dhyana Yoga chapter, Bhagiranga sadhanam will not be talked about because already talked about. It has been talked about. That is Karma Yoga, that is a Bhagiranga sadhanam talked about. Now here in this chapter, Antaranga sadhanam will be talked about. Sadhanam, which are required Antaranga. Antaranga is internal preparation, internal discipline. Starting from asana, etc. What type of asana you have to choose, how to sit, and should you sit on the top of something or below or down below. So all those things will be discussed. So the preparatory means Antaranga sadhanam. Then finally, Nididhyasanam, that is, once you sit, then make the mind focused on the Dhyaya Vishaya Nididhyasanam. So this Nididhyasanam is a sequel, it's a consequence, it follows all the previous chapter. It's all connected. It is not, this chapter is completely disconnected with the previous chapter. Having done Karma Yoga in Chitta Shuddhi, then the Chitta Shuddhi, the Chitta, the mind, which is relatively Shuddha, now it has to be, it should enjoy relative focus, concentration. So for which Dhyanam is required. Therefore, for Dhyanam, Bhagiranga sadhana is Karma Yoga. The Antaranga sadhana which are required is discussed here. And when the Dhyanam involves Saguna Brahma, it is called Upasana. When it is Nirguna Brahma, it becomes Nididhyasanam. So that is the idea. So after Karma Yoga followed by Upasana. In Upasana, if the Vishaya is, in the Upasana means it is Saguna Brahma Dhyanam. Where the Vishaya is Saguna Brahma. If the Vishaya is Saguna Brahma, it is called Dhyanam, Upasana, Dhyanam or Upasana. Now, that Upasana, that Saguna Brahma Dhyanam is required for achieving the relative focus of the mind. Once it is done, then one has to grow out of them to change the Dhyaya Vishaya from Saguna Brahma to Nirguna Brahma. Then it becomes Nididhyasanam. It is Jnana Sadhanam. So slowly the shift will happen. Now Karma Yoga talked about. Now the preparatory means Karma Yoga is a Bhagiranga sadhana. Now the preparatory means the Antaranga sadhana. And the Dhyanam is going to be talked about in this chapter. This is the small introduction to what we are going to discuss. So therefore, it's all Karma Yoga, etc. Everything is only preparation. It's only the preparatory means. That by itself is not final. Final is Jnanam and Moksha. That is final. So therefore, preparatory means after the Karma Yoga, the Bhagiranga sadhana, In fact, in the previous chapter itself, he has said, Sparshan Kritva Bhagir Bhagyan. He has introduced the topic which is going to be unfolded. Sparshan Kritva Bhagir Bhagyan Chakshushchaivantare Bravoho Pranapano Samo Kritva Nasavyantara Charino. So, as an introduction, Bhagavan Krishna, the last chapter, last shlokas, he has said. So that is going to be continued or elaborated in this chapter, Shashtodhyayaha. And here, Bhagavan begins with the shloka. We will read. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Anashrita karma phalam.
Anashrita karma phalam
Karyam karma karoti yaha.
Karyam karma karoti yah
Sasanyasi cha yogi cha.
Sasannyasi cha
च
yogi
योगी
cha
च
Niragnir na kriyaha.
Na niragnir na chakriyah
निरग्निर्चाक्रियः
Yes. It is not Dhyanam is talked about Vidyasanam in this chapter only. Even Vishwarupa Darshana and also, it is also Dhyanam only. Vishwarupa Darshanam, it is the entire Vishwa, the universe is Bhagavan. That is Jnanam and that is Vidyasanam. Looking upon everything. Sagastra Shirsha Purusha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Bhritva Atyatishta Dashangulam. Everything is Bhagavan, Ishvara Eva, Ishvara Darshanam, Sarvatra Ishvara Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam. That is also Dhyanam only elaborated in the 11th chapter, as well as in the 12th chapter also it is discussed. So 6th chapter, Nidhyasanam, and further it is discussed Dhyanam in the 11th chapter as well as 12th chapter, and it is discussed. Now here, in this shloka, now here, Bhagavan Krishna, he introduces to the Dhyanam. See, we have seen that Karma Yoga is for neutralizing one's Raga Dvesha. One's Raga Dvesha, the Malam, the impurities, which takes away the person from oneself. So therefore, Karma Yoga is recommended. Karma Yoga is to make the mind free from the influence of Raga Dvesha. Or karma referring to that karma, the action which is to be done. The person, he does the karma, not influenced by Raga Dvesha, not bothered about the result. That's why not bothered about the result means he has relative freedom from Raga Dvesha. He doesn't go by Raga Dvesha. He doesn't go by his whims and fancies. He goes by the dharma, by Ishvara, by the order of Ishvara. When this is to be done, the karma is, this is to be done is there. He does it. Why? Because he is a dharmika. Because he goes by the order of Ishvara. He doesn't want to he have any friction with the order of Ishvara. Because he knows friction with the order will cause pain to the person. So because he's a karma yogi, he's a mukshu, therefore he follows the order. He follows dharma. Following dharma is following Ishvara. So he follows Ishvara. He does as Ishvara commands him to do. That Ishvara commandment only in the form of Shastra, the Vedas. Therefore, he follows the Vedic injunctions. He follows the Vedic injunction, do's and don'ts of the Vedas. Whatever Vedas says, do's, he does it. Don'ts, he doesn't do it. Refrain from doing it. Therefore, karma, he does. not worried about the results, because the results are taken care by Bhagavan. Therefore, prasada buddhi is there. Therefore, such a person is, the karma yogi is, here it is said, karma yogi is both a sannyasi and yogi. Such a person is karma yogi. Such a karma yogi is a yogi as well as a sannyasi. Anashritaha, karma palam, anashritaha, yaha, manushyaha, purushaha, that is karma yogi. Karyam, that is kartavyam, karma karoti. Karyam is that which is to be done. The karyam, that which is to be done, kartavyam, karma karoti. That kartavyam means which is enjoined by the Veda. Kartavyam karma, that are ordered, that are commanded by the Veda. Kartavyam karma, prescribed by the Shastram. That he does without being possessed by karma pala, not worried about, not bothered about, not carried over by the karma pala, the result of action. Otherwise, he won't be able to do karma peacefully. He becomes a karmidan, not a karma yogi. He is called a karma yogi because the person does karma because because he knows that is his dharma. That is the commandment of the Lord. Therefore, he does as it as an order of Ishvara. Because he is a karma yogi, he is a mumukshu. Therefore, karma yogi does what is to be done without focusing on the fringe material benefits. He is interested in moksha. His material benefits will come. Of course, it will come, it will enjoy, but that is focus is not that. Even the karma which are done on the material world, he knows that since it is to be done, he does it, but his goal is moksha. So that person, karma yogi, is he not a sannyasi? He is a sannyasi. Saha karma yogi is a sannyasi. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha, because since he follows dharma, since he follows Ishvara, that karma yogi is a sannyasi also. Bhagavan Krishna praises that karma yogi to be a sannyasi is both sannyasi as well as a karma yogi because of his attitude towards a karma, because of his attitude towards to be done karma. So therefore, karma yogi is praised. Karma yogi who is a grihastha, the grihastha is equated to a sannyasi. Even though he is not an ashrama sannyasi, he is a grihastha, but this person is not different from an ashrama sannyasi because he is not interested, or not bothered about by the karma pala. Karma is to be done. That is the only thing in his mind. Therefore, he does. Therefore, he does. Therefore, he is a yogi, karma yogi, and he is a sannyasi. So, this person, the karma yogi, is a sannyasi, is a dhyana yogi also. Really is a meditator. Why? Meditator means doesn't mean he is sitting quiet with closed eyes, not doing any action. He is very active, actively performing karma, following dharma, that is knowing that it is his dharma, following dharma, keeping in mind the commandment of the Lord, knowing that it is his dharma to do karma, that which is to be done. He does karma very actively, but his mind is fixed in moksha. Even though he is actively involved in the world, but his mind is fixed in Bhagavan, in Ishvara, like the meditator keeps his mind in one object, the Dhyaya Vishya. Similarly, this karma yogi is also doing karma, keeping his mind fixed in his goal, that is moksha, fixed his mind in Ishvara, that is his goal. Therefore, this karma yogi is also can be called a sannyasi. This karma yogi also can be called a sannyasi. So calling a karma yogi, a grihastha to be a sannyasi is gauna prayaga. Is not really a sannyasi. He has not taken to sannyasa. Sannyasi means sannyasa means it is the sannyasi gives up all the karma, but he has not given up karma, and also he has not taken up to the saffron dress. He is very active in the world, doing karma, but at the level of is the attitude of his mind. At the attitude level is like a sannyasi. Is like a sannyasi. Is a dhyana yogi. Like a sannyasi who has his mind fixed on Brahma. Similarly, this karma yogi has his mind fixed on the same Brahma. Therefore, this person is a sannyasi, sasannyasi, cha yogi cha. He is a sannyasi, is both a sannyasi and a yogi. Nacha yogi cha na niragniki nacha kriyaha. He is a sannyasi, the karma yogi is a sannyasi, and yogi cha. Here yogi cha you can take it as sannyasi is a sannyasi, yogi cha because the context is dhyanam, therefore it's a dhyana yogi. Tat sannyasi cha dhyana yogi cha is a karma yogi, is a dhyana yogi, and is a sannyasi. Dhyana yogi means dhyana. The dhyana yogi is also it is karma yogi. He is doing dhyanam. His dhyanam is not withdrawing from karma. He is actively involved in the world. He is doing a lot of pravritti. At the same time, his mind is fixed on the goal, that Brahma. Therefore, he is doing dhyanam also. Therefore, dhyana yogi, karma yogi. So he is both. He is doing varieties of activities, but fixing his mind on the Lord. Na niragnihi nachakriyaha. The sannyasi is called niragnihi. Who is called niragnihi? Niragnihi. He means Agnihi means fire. Niragnihi means nirgataha. Nirgataha agnayaha yasmat saha. That is Agni Karya, Agni Sambandha Karya, that Yaga, Homa, etc. A sannyasi should not do, not supposed to do. A sannyasi who has taken up sannyasa, giving up the Karmakanda portion of the Veda, he has deliberately given. Not deliberately given means he has deliberately given with the sanction of the Shastra. He cannot just like that give up. Karma which he has been doing, the same karma with the sanction of the Veda, the karma, this Agnihotra, the karma, Nitya karma, Sandhya Vandana, the karma, Samhita Dhanam, etc. And whatever other karmas are there, those karma which involves fire, all those karma, the variety of rituals, Shraddha karma also, everything he gives up ritually and takes to sannyasa. Therefore, he is called Niragnihi. He is not supposed to do any Agni Karya. No yaga, homa, etc. for him. In fact, he should not cook. Cooking is also not allowed for a sannyasi. That is why sannyasi goes for bhiksha. So niragnihi means sannyasi. This yogi, the karma yogi, the dhyana yogi, is called a sannyasi, but he is not niragnihi. He is sagnihi. He does all the agnikarya, etc. Is it not contradictory? No. He is like a sannyasi. He is like a sannyasi, not a sannyasi. That sannyasi who is niragnihi, who has just given up karma, not doing all these things, really is not a sannyasi. That's what he says here. It is to praise karma yogi. The sannyasis are as though not really pulled down. As though compared to those sannyasis who have given up the agnikarya, etc. Akriyaha, they don't do any karma. Compared to them, this yogi, this yogi who is sagnihi, who does varieties of karma, is a sannyasi. Means just by giving up agni karma, just by not doing anything, a person doesn't become a sannyasi. Just by giving up Agni karma or any karma, a person become a sannyasi. Only by jnanam, a person can become a sannyasi, and this person is a sannyasi, karma yogi sannyasi. He has not given up Agni karma. On the other hand, he is doing a lot of Agni karma and varieties of karma he is doing, but he is called a sannyasi. Why? Because of his attitude, because of his understanding. So, Niragnihi means one who is free from fire. Fire meaning ritual, Agni Karya. And Akriyaha means no Kriya, no karma. Akriyaha. Na vidyate Kriya. Na vidyate Kriya yasya saha. The person doesn't have any Kriya, any action, because he has given up. So, that person is a sannyasi. That person is a yogi. This person, that is a karma yogi, is a yogi, a sannyasi, not just that person who has given up Agni Karya, who has given up activities. So merely giving up the Agni Karya, merely taking the sannyasa, or merely making oneself free from the action is not a sannyasa. That person is not a sannyasi. This karma yogi is a real sannyasi. He is a real sannyasi. He is a yogi. He is a real meditator. His mind is fixed on Brahma. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotyah. Ipyate nasa papena patna patra ivambasa. The beautiful shloka what we saw in the previous section. Brahmani adaya. Brahmanyadaya karmani. And the keeping being established in Brahma, the Brahma Buddhi. The person does karma, but like the water doesn't stick to the lotus leaf, is not touched by the samsara. Lipyate nasa papena patna patra ivambasa is not touched by the papam or punyam. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukam vashi. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. This is the attitude this karma yogi enjoys. Therefore, that karma yogi who enjoys this attitude is far more superior than the person who has merely given up the Agni, who has merely given up the karma. Iti karma yogi is glorified. It doesn't mean the sannyasis are criticized. Here the context is this advice is given to Arjuna. Therefore, to make the Arjuna understand, just by giving up one doesn't become a sannyasi. Just by giving up Agni Karya or karma action, one doesn't become a sannyasi. One becomes a sannyasi only by the attitude. One becomes a sannyasi only by the attitude is very important. The lifestyle doesn't important. Over the lifestyle you have choice, as we discussed before the last class. Over the lifestyle you have choice, but there is no choice with regard to moksha. That is only through jnanam. That jnanam, if jnanam is the means to gain moksha, then for that jnanam, what attitude one requires, that one has to develop. For that, whichever lifestyle is suitable for you, you can choose. But the problem with the sannyasa lifestyle is there you don't have choice. Your choice is less. You have minimum choice for self-growth. Whereas in Grihastha you have a lot of scope. Lot of scope is there for your self-growth. And that person who actively engages in the world, at the same time fixing the mind on the Lord, doing karma, is both a yogi and sannyasi. And here yogi, we can take karma yogi, and he's a dhyana yogi also. He constantly meditates on the Lord only, on Ishvara only. Therefore, he is a yogi. Karma palam anashritaha, not anashritaha. Anashritaha means it doesn't have ashraya, na ashritaha, karma, na ashritaha, anashritaha. Na ashritaha means na apekshamanaha. There is no karma pala trishna in that person. is not after the result of the karma, because he had done karma and offered to the Lord. That arpana buddhi, Ishwararpana buddhi, is an offering. Like you offer the Naivedyam, like you offer the Vastra to the Lord. Similarly, he offers and he revels in that. He enjoys that. He offers that which is, he does what is to be done, and that he offers. Therefore, he is karma pala trishna rahitaha, free from karma pala, free from the pressure for the desired results. His attitude is completely different. Therefore, anashutaha karma pala trishna rahitaha. Therefore, there is no pressure in him for the karma pala. Nishkamaha san. That is the meaning. Nishkamaha san. He does karma, but karma doesn't have any, he doesn't, that over the karma, he doesn't have any particular agenda. He does for the sake of the Lord. That's called nishkamaha. That's called nishkamaha san. Karyam karoti. What karyam? Ishvara karyam karoti. Kartavyam karma. That which is to be done. What is to be done? That is Ishvara karyam. Bhagavad karyam. Here Krishna says karyam. Maya karyam. That whatever karyam. Kartavyam iti. That kartavyam vedoktam, lokasamatam, and kartavyam karma, in keeping with one varna, one ashrama, uchitam karma karoti, nirvartayati yaha, manushyaha, saha, sannyasi. Sannyasi is not taken to sannyasa, but it is only, is praising, he has been praised. Saha sannyasi. Sannyasi shabdena abhideyaha. Is called by the name sannyasi, though not a sannyasi. And karma yogi cha, sasannyasi cha, karma yogi cha. It means he has got sannyasitvam and karma yogitvam. Both are there. Both dharma is simultaneously present in this person, though he has not taken to sannyasa. Therefore, those people who have given up the agnikarya, niragnihi, akriyaha na sannyasi bhavati. This person is a sannyasi. Iti, just by giving up the agnikarya or just by giving up the karma, a person becomes sannyasi. Only anashitam karma pale meka karoti, that person alone becomes a real sannyasi. Iti, sannyasa is, this person is praised. Karma yogi is praised. And he is, in fact, like the meditator, he doesn't sit and do. His meditation is, in spite of doing varieties of karma, the action is focused, his mind is focused on the Lord, following what is to be done as a commandment of the Lord. So his mind is fixed in Bhagavan always. So that is a meditation. So therefore he is a yogi, both karma yogi, dhyana yogi, and sannyasi. So yogi can be contextually taken as dhyana yogi. Yogi can be taken as, dhyana yogi iti. So sasannyasi cha yogi cha. Therefore, he is a two-in-one. The person is a two-in-one. So therefore, here Gauna has got in the secondary, in the Gaunartha, secondary meaning is called sannyasi. That we have to note it. Not Mukhyartha. If it is Mukhyartha, then person must have taken to sannyasa ashrama. It's not a sannyasi. In that sense, it is Gaunartha. The person is a grihastha, the same thing called a sannyasi. So sannyasi cha yogi cha. So this type of presentation is called nahi ninda nyaya. That is wanting to praise something. So for that, you pull down something. At the cost of something, you praise something. That is called nahi ninda nyaya. The intention is not to pull down the sannyasis or the sannyasa. The intention here is to praise the Karma Yoga and the Karma Yogi. In fact, this Nyaya, this method is, you will see many places handled by Swami Vivekananda in this speech. He will say, when he talks about Karma Yoga alone is a means for moksha. You cannot take that sentence literally. Since the topic of his discourse is Karma Yoga, therefore he praises Karma Yoga. When it comes to Bhakti Yoga, he will say there is nothing like Bhakti. Only Bhakti, he will say. When it comes to Jnanam, he will pull down, he will dismiss Karma, he will dismiss Bhakti. Is it not contradicting? No, it's not contradiction. It's called Nahi Nanda Nyaya. When he says Karma Yoga alone, which gives moksha, means you have to understand that Karma Yoga alone means if you have Karma Yoga, if you are Karma Yogi, that Chitta Shuddhi is there, then moksha is not far. Moksha is near. That is the idea. It's called Nahi Ninda Nyaya. Therefore, one cannot literally take it. Understand the message involved behind that. That is important. That one can understand only one as the vision of the Shastram. That is why tradition, Sampradaya, teacher is required. Otherwise, going by the literal translation of this verse will mislead a person. Not that person is a sannyasi who has given up Agni Karma or a Kriya or Kriya. Then becomes a problem. Then Grihastha sannyasi means. It is the context to be understood. Here, this as a sequence of the 5th chapter. And 5th chapter, Arjuna has a question. You are praising sannyasa and you are asking me to do karma. Why? So, as an answer to Arjuna, as a continuous, then here Bhagavan Krishna, he praises the sannyasa, the yogi. He praises sannyasi to be a yogi. You don't have to give up everything to become a sannyasi. You can very well be in the Grihastha ashrama and enjoy the attitude, entertain the attitude of a sannyasi. That is better than taking to sannyasa, which involves giving up of Agni karma, which involves giving up of karma activities. So that is the idea. So this is type of presentation is called Nahi Ninda Nyaya. And that is what here Bhagavan Krishna had handled. The next shloka, that there also sannyasa and yoga both are equated. That we will see. We will read that in the next class. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastitadadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Na Vidusvara Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Dhanyavadah.
धन्यवाद
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.